What is going on, everyone? I am Jada here. Welcome to another edition of the Jada blogcast. It's where I take specific topics and I speak about it in expanded, time period. Now you're gonna say, well, Jay, this is just another video. Well, this will be different because I like to infuse my red pill thoughts onto certain things. And what we're gonna discuss is Jedi mind tricking your exes. I know some of you gonna look at the title, you're gonna say to yourself, Jedi mind tricking, what are you talking about, Jay? I know that some things that I speak about is above some people's heads. A lot of people don't understand it, they don't get it, they may not even like it, but we're gonna get into it. But make sure y'all like this video. Make sure you, if you're new, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure that you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get notifications. I post to Twitter and Facebook my videos every day. So if you're not getting notified, you can go to those platforms and you will see that. Also, I post promo videos for my live shows on Instagram. So you can go there and subscribe and follow there if you want to know when I go live. And I don't do it all the time, but most of the time I do. All right. Also, shout out to everybody that support me on Patreon. I do put a lot of my live streams there that I do some great live streams, but I don't keep them up. I don't want the live stream trying to get too cluttered. And also I put up some content there that I don't put on YouTube that you can check out as well. Also, make sure if you want to support the Jada Black Livestreams 2 channel, you can become a member. Become a member of the channel. And there's different tiers, so make sure you do that. Now let's talk about the Jedi mind tricking your ex. And I want to talk about Joe Budden and his recent ex, Santana. Now, they began dating a couple years ago. Joe even got engaged to her. Okay? And things seemed like it were good. She had his kid. Joe seemed like he had settled down. His podcast has gotten popular. He was doing Everyday Struggle. Then he got a new show on Revolt called State of the Culture. So it seems that things have been going quite well for Joe. But then we started to see cracks in the armor. They got back on reality TV, which is probably, a sign that things weren't going to go too well. And it was revealed that they were having problems in the romance department. And I believe that Santana, the ex video vixen, reality TV lesbian, who now, who's with a guy now, there was no romance in a relationship. And it was revealed by Sin. She basically was like, Joe doesn't look at her the same way. He doesn't see her the same way. And has caused a rift. She even said that she would get out the car and see how many other guys would want to have relations with her. And you can just tell by the body language that Joe was halfway out that relationship. But I don't think he wanted to hurt Santana's feelings. And this is where the Jedi mind trick comes into play. Because Joe is a very intelligent guy. I'm not saying that he's like super smart or genius, but I'm saying I think Joe understands women. This is why he's always had a lot of attractive women, to date him, even though his music career hasn't been very, big. He was still able to get women to date him, women, very attractive women. You know what I'm saying? The women that a lot of y'all follow on social media. You're not going to say it to me, but I know you do, And I think Joe wanted out of that relationship because, one, he was with a female that was a little bit younger than him. And this goes to a lot of you older guys who get on social media and you talk about how young women want you. They want to date you more than younger men. What you have to understand is that is very true. You do have women who are attracted to older men. But if your energies don't mesh, if she doesn't have the same maturity as you do, that relationship is going to fall apart. This is why you have younger men who rather date older women, because a lot of younger females, they just mentality wise, they're just not there. So of course, younger women are going to want to date older men, especially if they have daddy issues, or just they genuinely like the stability of an older guy, right? And I think that Joe brought stability to Santana, even though she had a very messy relationship history. So not only did you have the situation happen on the reality show, you also had the game get into a back and forth with Joe. Well, not really a back and forth. He name dropped Santana, and it caused quite a stir, and it caused a wee bit of a back and forth. Joe didn't really address it, and that's when I knew Joe had one foot out that relationship. And I think because Joe didn't go that hard for her, I think that once again, the Jedi mind trick, he got Sin to feel some type of way about that. Also, the fact that you had Joe Budden video recorded walking around town with a female that was apparently his friend. And again, Joe didn't respond to that, but I believe Santana saw that once again as a guy who's stepping out on her. Because one thing Joe knows that Santana is very emotional, and he knows that she's emotionally, she can get emotionally pushed to doing certain things. It's kind of like when he dated Tahiri years back. Tahiri is very emotional, and he knows how to push her buttons. Same thing with Santana. I think Sin wanted to be in that relationship, but she wanted Joe to change who he was. And Joe Budden was not going to change who he was. And it took a little bit of this and that for her to just say, you know what, I'm gone. So she ends up posting a picture to Instagram without her wedding ring. And then it was said that they had broken up, that they had separated. Now you got her doing an interview saying that she dumped Joe Budden and it was the best decision she ever made. All while during the latter parts of the relationship, once they broke up, Joe Budden did speak about not being able to see his son because, again, you're dealing with a female who's very emotional. And she's going to use the fact that you want to be in your kid's life against you. And this is what women like this do. Like when they can't have you, they don't want you to have a relationship with your kid. So if Sin claims that she left him and didn't want to be with him, why don't you want him to see his kid? And I don't think that Joe Budden is lying. I think that when they first separated, because things were bad between them, she didn't want him nowhere near her, i.e. the kid too. But I think things may have changed, between them. And in her mind, she's the one who walked away from the relationship. But I don't think so. I think Joe Budden, because Joe is a very intuitive guy. He understands women. He really does. He understands, he understands them as far as wanting to date them. He also understands when to separate from them, to make them feel good about themselves, because you don't want to break up with a bitter female. I recently did a video about the NBA player from the 76ers, Ben Simmons, and how his ex-girlfriend refuses to, let him go, and I think it's due to the fact that she's still in love with him and she still would like to make things work with him, and he's not giving her the time of day. And it's been a year. He broke up with her. He immediately got with another woman. He accused her of, following him, trying to be seen wherever he was. He said that she was obsessed with him. She even made a diss song about him, the singer Tinashe. And I think that Joe Budden did not want to be in that situation. And I think that he wanted Sin to feel good about herself, to walk away from the relationship with self-esteem. Because you can already see her self-esteem lacking due to the fact that he wasn't having relations with her like that. But what Sin didn't understand is that you're a younger female with an older man who is working, who is building, he doesn't really have time for that. He really doesn't. You know, he's at a different space in his life. He's more about building and having stability in the household. You know, she's thinking about, having relations probably once, twice a day, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Feeling good about herself, feeling that she still got it, that she looked good. And Joe Budden wasn't about that, and he needed a way out of that relationship. I could say the same thing for Kanye West. I think Kanye West wanted out of the relationship with Amber Rose, but he wanted her to leave the relationship and not feel the need to be obsessed with him. So she tells anybody who will listen that she left him, which is fine because Kanye ended up moving on with Kim K, and the rest is history. He saw her as marriage material and not Amber Rose, you know? And the same could be said in this situation. This thing happens a lot, man. You got guys, man, instead of them saying, I want out, listen, I'm not saying that this is right. I'm not saying that this is right. But what I'm saying is that when you're a guy like Joe Budden and you have a kid invested in this, you're focused on building your platform, your podcasting platform. You're focused on that. You're not focused on pleasing, your girlfriend all the time and her whims. And you feel like, this ain't my speed, this ain't my energy, I need to be by myself. That don't mean that they won't get back together, because rest assured, if they get back together, it's going to be her going back to him and him not going back to her. Okay? I can almost guarantee that's how it's going to go. They still could be seeing each other because, again, I think she's gotten over the phase of being emotional. I think in her mind, she walked away from the relationship. She's the one who left, So I think that's the way Joe Budden wanted it. I'm not saying that's right. I think that when you want to separate from somebody, you need to be honest with them and not play games with them. And I think that in this situation, Joe chose the latter. So shout out to everybody who tuned in, man. Make sure y'all follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links are in the description. As well as like this video, share it. Okay, if you like me doing these videos, let me know in the comments section, man. Give me your feedback, and I'll see y'all in the next one.